Oh, because my room's a wreck, excuse me. Anyway, I think this is like the third time I've gone to run this video, so a lot of you have already heard it, but I'm going to run it again. Okay, there's some things I want to bring to the table, so let me adjust my screen. Good morning, Jennifer. So I have a lot going on, and there's going to be some changes made in my life. So I'm going through a big adjustment personally. I can't talk about it. And I should never have talked about it in the past. I should have never brought it up. Anyway, I've noticed that I'm losing friends and subscribers. That's interesting. I wonder who they are. Listen, I'm bound to lose a whole bunch more friends. But, you know, I have to live in my own skin and do what I feel is right for me in my life and follow my own heart. And so today is Veterans Day. Excuse me, I do not mean to be a bad influence and be drinking Coca-Cola. Is that a sin? I wonder if it is. Like if someone's trying to quit smoking and they use that, if it's still considered a sin. I don't know, things that boggle my mind. So anyway, let me give my love to Jesper. How are you? Eliza Castanen, how are you? Adeline, how are you? Hi, Meek Dad. Jennifer. Okay, I'm going to try to focus on the topic at hand. And again, this is a remake. I'm doing, okay, first. It's Veterans Day today. Happy Veterans Day to the veterans. I lift all veterans up to Heavenly Abba. I pray that He shines His face upon them and that going forward in their life they have peace, harmony, love, family, wealth, success, a home, and quietness and stillness in their life. In Yeshua's name, I deeply appreciate their sacrifices and all they have given to try to make this world a better place. And I'm sorry they had to go through that. And they're really courageous and brave to willingly go off and protect their loved ones. That's a kind of courage I'm not quite sure I even have in myself, to be honest. I'm probably more like a coward and would run the other way. But with all due respect to the veterans, I love you very much. Thank you for your service and everything that you've given. You've jeopardized everything in your life to protect what you love and believe in. So thank you so much. And again, I pray that Yahweh gives you extra, extra blessings in Yeshua's name. Second to that, Heavenly Abba, I lift up my chat room, this video, the archives, anyone that runs into it and watches it. I pray that you protect them. Pour the blood of the Lamb on this video, my chat room, and anyone that watches it, and protect them in Yeshua's name. Put our full armor on in Yeshua's name. I cast out any deceiving spirits. I cast out any lying spirits. I cast out any stealing spirits. Lying, stealing, deceiving. I send them to the foot of the cross. I ask the Holy Spirit to fill all of us and overflow us with Heavenly Abba's power, love, and strength in Yeshua's name. I pray for our full armor, helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, belt buckle of truth, ready feet, shield of faith, sword of Yahweh's living logos in Yeshua's name. I pray that, Abba, if there are any MKUltra mind control victims, anyone that has been exposed to MKUltra mind control techniques, whether at the hands of a coven, wealthy family, Illuminati bloodline, or a different bloodline, if they were subject to these mind control of MKUltra projects and programming, or if they've had handlers and programmers, I pray that this video does not trigger them. I pray that all children step out of the room for this video. I pray that everyone is protected in Yeshua HaMashiach's name. Heavenly Abba, please send down Yeshua HaMashiach and your warring angels to join us, please, and guide us through this. Because I'm looking to do research and find out things, and there's not enough videos on it. And I don't know enough about it, but maybe by me doing this video, I can find out more. So thank you for the opportunity, Yahweh. In Yeshua HaMashiach's name, Selah. All right, now, I'm going to read to you some things. And with all due respect, anyone's name that I mention in this video is for research and study purposes only. And yes, of course, I probably look up to the person for one reason or another. And I definitely appreciate that. Some of the people's names that I mentioned, they're pioneers. They've paved the way, coming forward to talk about all of this stuff. And that's bravery and courage. And with all due respect, I hope no one minds. I just wish to gather more information, please, if that's all right. So the description to this video is: bring your research, studies, and experiences to the table, and let us educate others and ourselves. I am asking serious people only to be at this live video call. Otherwise, you can tell them that you got blocked by the best of the best of the best for acting like a fool. Come on, I get trolled by some pretty serious people. It's not a joke. I laugh out of nervousness. Anyway, moving onward, there are a lot of serious and dangerous topics to discuss. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. There's a bunch of things I want to bring up. Different projects and different programming. I'll read them in a moment. How I recognized I had these types of MKUltra programming. How I'm trying to break them. I broke some of them, but I have a lot more to go. And we'll get into all of that. But one step at a time. Because it's hard for people to wrap their minds around the stuff I talk about. It can be overwhelming, overbearing, and unbelievable. I keep digressing. Where was I? Okay, how I recognize these types of MKUltra programming. how I broke and I'm still trying to break it, also called deprogramming, how to move forward in your life. Right now, I just knocked myself back into the Stone Age with something I did. I could turn back the hands of time. Let me go forward. Critical thinkers, researchers, and fellow MKUltras are recommended to join me specifically on these topics. All mockers, scoffers, uneducated persons, sleeping sheeple, and ones who do not continue on with educating themselves beyond college will not suit well in this open discussion. I believe I'm from Project IBIS. IBIS. I think that's where they made us believe we were angels in human bodies. I heard someone discussing what they knew about Project Gamma. Not that they were in Project Gamma, but they had heard of it. I got to thinking a lot of these projects, when you look them up on the internet, and I like to watch videos, I love to hear people's experiences, but I want to hear about these projects and what they're doing in these projects to these children that are locked in a cage, like the one I was able to escape from. And I've been very fortunate to meet some of the other children I believe I remember from a child all throughout my life. But from a small child, I believe that I was fortunate enough to reunite with some of those children who were also locked in a cage and trafficked in a deep underground military base by our military. The term super soldier to me is more supernatural soldier, because I believe they tracked me for my spiritual gifts. In the Holy Bible, now this is also my personal opinion. In the Holy Bible, when Yahweh says there are people that are chosen from before birth, well, I probably had a calling on my life. And with the military engaging in satanic rituals and sacrifices, them making their soldiers run around in high heels, how degrading is that to those soldiers? It's not Halloween and people are joking around. That's dehumanizing, especially to our soldiers. Personal opinions. Anyway, so I had these spiritual gifts, and my military knew that. It stems back to when my grandfather was in World War II in the Navy. He was on a minesweeper ship. He was a backup cook. He'd come home and tell Grandma about how they would give him and the other soldiers LSD and marijuana just to see what it would do. Through Scott Hensler's ministry and his research, he had mentioned, I believe, that minesweeper ships were used in the Philadelphia experiment. My grandparents raised me. My grandmother was always a military wife. When I would ask my grandparents how they met, my grandmother and my papa would say they went on one date, he proposed to her, and the next thing you know, they're married. Just like that. So I believe because of his involvement or whatever, I believe involuntarily and unknowingly, my grandfather could have possibly been exposed to these MKUltra projects. I believe that I could be multi-generational. I believe I could be a second or third generation super soldier. I'm on the cusp because of my birth date. But something has happened, and these projects are still ongoing. They need to be shut down. I heard that Russ Dizdar, and I forget the gentleman's name, but that man, our brother in Christ, he's on that channel, Through the Darkness. They're over in Europe, and they're talking about kids in a cage and how many kids are abducted. Not only the military, I was exposed to what the military does in deep underground military bases. You all can believe stories of Area 51. Then why can't you believe the children that made it through there? Now, I know it sounds fantastical, but I turned to Jesus. So, and from my understanding, you accepted him too. So we're peers. We're both on a path following a lamb. Your walk is yours right there. You have a different style to your walk following a lamb, but this is my walk and my journey, and I'm sharing it with you. And because I've been exposed to these projects, I believe I have something to offer. I'm not going after the people that did this to me. I'm going to go after their victims that they've left in their wake, and I'm going to lead them to Jesus so they can become survivors through him. Finally, I worded something right. Moving onward and along. So, I don't know if I was in Project Gamma. I have no idea. I contemplated if I did or not. Some things kind of make similar sense, but I don't think I was in Gamma. I don't know. That's why I was pursuing other super soldiers, MKUltra survivors that I recall from a child in these DUMs, trying to ask them what we were exposed to. Because if we can like find the name of the project, find out what they do, we can untangle that and undo it and help a person's recovery time not take what I'm going on 4 years now. And I left in my wake victims recently. So, these programs have destroyed my life and me. And waking up from them, I got to tell you guys, it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I encourage everyone to look up Cisco Wheeler and Fritz Springmeier. They have 2 books on the internet that are free. I made my way half through one. I'd like to read the other one. I'm a slow reader. I just wish they'd put up the video so I could watch it and not have to read. But anyway, I read the one about something to the effect of Illuminati's hand guide to creating the ultimate mind control slave. And I read it because I heard that in there they talk about Joseph Mengele. I, as a child, used to call him Joe the Mechanic. He was nice to me. I had to get past having Stockholm Syndrome over him when I woke up. So this has profoundly, directly impacted my life. Whatever Hitler was trying to do, I think the only reason why I've been allowed to talk is to simply demonstrate what they're capable of doing. And they've been successful at whatever they were searching for. They found their answer. And now with CERN working overtime and them resurrecting Osiris, oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. All right, I'm not even talking about the programs and projects. I'm stalling. Please, Heavenly Abba Yahweh, do not allow me to draw any blanks. Allow me to stay on topic. I do not accept daggers from the enemy and keep them away from all my loved ones who are watching this in Yeshua HaMashiach's name, Selah. All right, so Project Gamma, I heard, I'm not so. Oh, that's the other thing. If I go on like Google and try to research documents, I can never find them. I don't know how to look up these documents of what they did to kids in a cage. I want to read them. It'll make me cringe and quiver, and my altars shake and shudder. But I'm looking to heal and become whole again. I have a lot of ugliness and darkness in my life right now, and I'd really like to stop it. I keep getting off on tangents. But I think we need to make more videos about these projects and share our knowledge. So I encourage everybody after the video to leave your comments, leave links regarding your research and studies, where we can find documents, different videos. This way, maybe if somebody's looking up these projects and programming and they bump into this video, they'll see the different links where it discusses what happens. When I read Fritz Springmeier's book about Joseph Mengele and what he did to those kids, and I being one of them, I'll never be the same. You know, everybody all my life said it was in my head, or I'm lying, or I'm on drugs, or I stole my valor, and they don't even know what that means to even accuse me of it. But oh boy. But this is the truth and the fact of the matter. So if I can shed some light, I want to. And I'd like to do it in a factual way. I don't want anyone to mislead us. But I'm going to share what I've heard through the grapevine, or what I personally feel I was exposed to. And I'll share what I know or think I know about it. I'm going to probably have to make more videos, because this is what, going on 22 minutes. I don't want to be too long. I heard that Project Gamma was where they would put like people that ended up being farmed out to be a politician, you know, Senate, Congress, everybody that's in the government in high positions that have power, that rule and lead over us, and they have all the wrong intentions. Well, I was farmed out to black operations. And I know that sounds funny to a lot of you, because if you ever see these guys in the Navy SEALs and black operations, I mean, I look nothing like them, obviously. And I certainly couldn't keep up with them right now. But what I was exposed to when it comes to black operations was what they do to children in deep underground military bases. And then from there, they send them out on different assignments. That what I was exposed to is another facet of black operations. We were always surrounded by special forces as kids. So, you know, while we were there, we were trained and subjected to special forces. And it wasn't always fighting techniques. So I heard that Project Gamma is where they send people that they want to farm out to be some sort of politician. It's a self-deception program that the person, you know, in their career, they're paid so much money to promote something, but they don't believe it themselves, and they go home and lead a much different life, and a more honest, truthful life. And then when they sit back and think to themselves, wow, I'm doing something wrong, and they try to come out of it and confess what they've done, because we've seen a couple politicians and a couple bankers come clean, even doctors, and they face being assassinated, murdered, terminated. That's terrible. But these people try to come out of it, and when they do, when they try to come out of it, there's another alter, another sub-personality that's been programmed to then circle the person around to kind of reprogram again to say, oh no, I'm not going to back out. I'm going to keep, I'm going to keep my career. I got to support my family. Everything's all right. Never mind, never mind. And they keep going around that loop. But they stay in self-deception. They didn't send me out to be a politician, I can tell you that much. So that's what I heard about Gamma. I know that the late and sorely missed Max Spears has spoken of these projects. I know he is a great resource on it as well. Forgive me. Or rather, excuse me. Don't forgive me. Just excuse me a moment. So Project IBIS, I think that's where we were up in Nelson, Canada. I think Joseph Mangley was there. Resource for that would be James Casbolt, also known as Michael Prince. I think he's spoken about it. And I will have to say, James Casbolt's description of Project IBIS, I would vouch for, because I believe I was there as a child too, and I believe I recall him. But maybe there's some other people that know more about it or could make a video or elaborate. You have Project Pegasus. I think Pegasus is what? Time travel? That's a hard one to explain. I think I could have been exposed to that, but I'm not quite sure. So I can't put any claim to it. I would have to do more research. But you have Project Looking Glass. What I stumbled into were people talking about Project Looking Glass. And they said that's where the military basically is able to see the future and to see who's going to be born before they're born and know what's going to happen to them before it happens to them. People talk about the Montauk chair. I think that's time travel type things. But that Montauk chair, I don't know. I think I would like to see documents on it, so maybe you guys do. And those of you in my chat room, if you want to add to the chat, to what I'm saying, to add to other people what you know about it or what you found out about it, please, I encourage you to do so, because I want to know what you found out. I want to open up more discussion and research about these things. Project Beta, I think I'm from that one. I think that's what we went through as far as the sex training, because I would classify myself and some of the other children as being Pizzagate and Pedogate survivors. So to be a survivor of that, and yes, it's true, and Watergate covered that up. So you guys were supposed to find out a long time ago. So if you had found out a long time ago, I wouldn't have had to go through it as a kid. And you know what? There's kids right now going through it. What are we going to do about it? I personally don't have the resources to put together like a brigade and infantry and a convoy and go beating down some doors and stealing cages so I can let the kids out. If I did, I would, but I don't. I'm lucky to be sitting here right now. Praise be to Yahweh. So anyway, Project Delta, I think I was a part of that. I have a lot of memories, but I will get to that at another time because I'm already working on something else I'm deprogramming on. But I don't want to talk about my current issue that I'm working on privately, not till after it's done. And then I'll tell you what I went through so you can get through it. I got to edit that description. Edit. I heard such a thing as gamma loops. Yeah, that's when when your core personality tries to pull out of the deception, but an alter comes forward and just sucks you right back in that deception and you keep cycling around. This is what I want to add to this whole loop thing. I was going through a period of time where I thought I was stuck in a time loop and I said all sorts of bad things about it. And I thought I was in a different, previously, not talking about gamma loops, cycling around where an alter pops up and just pushes the core back down and keeps operating in a loop like that. I'm not talking about that, but there's other loops. And people have said, oh, it's a time loop. You know, you haven't learned your lesson and there you are again doing the same thing. Well, I don't think that's a time loop. I think that happens to all of us. Where all of a sudden, we're doing something, and then maybe 3 years later, all of a sudden, you're in the same place, same people doing the same thing, and you feel like you're in a loop. Well, that happens to all of us. So I'm not quite sure if it's a lesson not learned. I'm not quite sure what it is. I do not think it's a time loop. I do not think it's anything to do with timelines. I do not think it's anything to do with gamma loops, although they have their own loops. But just all of us in general go through this overall feeling. Sometimes it can almost feel to you like you lived 100 years ago in a previous life, and now all of a sudden you're here doing the same thing again. It can almost feel like that. But I think that honestly, the majority of us go through that normally, which raises a possible question to put on the table. Is that the Mandela effect? Or is that just quite possibly too saying, hey, Holly, you didn't learn your lesson, and now look at the mess you've made. Moving onward and forward. Ooh, I got to learn how to do those hashtags. You guys could help me. How do I do that? Omega. I'm going to get in trouble for this one. IBIS. Beta. I'm looking for information. And you have gamma. What do people know about it? And you have looking glass. think I was in that. Is that also, I want to pose a question on Looking Glass. Is that when they brought us kids into that room and they put us in that chair and they put the screens in front of us and they were showing us different things? Was that also Looking Glass? So we were looking in the future. Then what else do you have? Mind control programming. Mind control. Excuse me, guys, you got to go through this with me. These are hard topics to talk about because, you know, people don't want you really talking about them. All right, then we have, oh, that came out all as one. Oh, and then I deleted it. Yeah.
Got a couple bucks off you?
I don't even have a few dollars.
Shit.
So, let's see. All right, guys, sorry to take you through this with me. All right. I'm stalling. I'm sorry. Project Omega. Omega is two things from my understanding: suicide programming, self-destructiveness, which I just destroyed my life and a few other people's lives. And I don't care what the public thinks. I know the truth before Heavenly Abba, and I need to face that truth, and I'm going to. I just have so much going on. When you're deprogramming through these projects, it drudges up a lot of personal stuff, and it's an emotional roller coaster, and it's very difficult to do. Project Omega is two things. It's a suicide programming, and I made through the suicide programming, and I'll be honest, I'll tell you right now, I turned up on Jonathan Cahn's doorstep. So if the Jefferson Police Department have anything to say to me, all I'm going to say back is, guess what? I'm a survivor of Project Omega. I'm a survivor of the suicide programming. Do you see what they did to Max, or what supposedly happened to him? That suicide programming, I made it through that. So I may have embarrassed myself to Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Cahn and their ministry, and I may have humiliated myself in front of the West Milford Police Department as well. But I'll tell you what happened those days that they know about was because I was getting through the suicide programming. I lost my speaking abilities for 9 months. So if anybody has anything to mock at me for or laugh at me for, well, here, I'll hand it to you on a silver platter. There's my history. So I made it through that suicide programming, and there's not many that do. So all praise and glory goes to Heavenly Abba Yahweh, who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Please give us this day our daily bread, and please forgive our sins as we forgive those who have sinned against us. Please do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. You are almighty, powerful, omnipotent, ever-knowing, everlasting, and my everything. Yahweh bless Yahweh, Yahweh bless Yeshua, Yahweh bless Holy Spirit, Yahweh bless the kingdom of heaven and everything that Abba loves, and may Yahweh bless all my loved ones, and may he pray for me, and the kingdom of heaven is thine, and I love you so much, I love you, I love you, I love you, and thank you so much. Please help me, Heavenly Abba. In Yeshua's name, Selah. So, moving onward. Project Omega, from my understanding, is also... Have you ever seen the movie Avatar? You guys will go watch a 2.5 movie about Avatar with blue people on another planet and other people operating machines and everybody killing each other. But see, that's like truth hidden in plain sight. It's hard for me to fathom why people listen to NASA. Never a straight answer. I don't understand why don't you listen to people from the secret space program. Seriously, your tax dollars are funding the secret space program, and every time somebody comes forward to tell you about it, you laugh at them and try to make them loony sounding. And no offense, but if you were in a deep underground military base and you saw what was truly going on, Max Spears said something about a dumb out in Texas, Horror of Nightmares, or the Hall of Nightmares, where they do all that experimentation. But also, our government leaders, and this is well known, have made deals with aliens and Nordics. Valiant Thor. So, but when you see those things in the dumbs, like these aliens and such, that's enough to make anybody go insane. They smell bad, they look bad, they give off an ominous death, evil presence, and just looking at them scares the daylights out of you. It's enough to give anybody a heart attack. But anyway, so Project Omega is basically when your body is safely laying in bed and you leave your body and then you enter into an avatar. Not necessarily a tall blue guy, but yes, you could do it in order to walk through a stargate or seagate. And a seagate is basically a stargate, but it's in the ocean. Isn't there one in the Sea of Aden, a seagate? I thought there was one in Bimini. And that's where I had the dolphin training because of their sonar. Anyway, so Project Omega is when you leave your body safely in one spot and then you go and manipulate and operate another vessel. I believe I was exposed to that because I have some pretty odd memories. I'm still working on that one. This is a progress and journey. Labyrinth programming, that's hard. That's, you know, the movie David Bowie, Labyrinth. It's all based on that. In your visual eyes, a victim of Labyrinth programming, you know the layout of your house, but all of a sudden within your eye line, there's a wall. And you know that the layout of your house, but you're seeing a wall there, or you're seeing a window somewhere else. Or you go to walk upstairs and all of a sudden they're farther apart or they're bigger. They move and shift. The shadows move. And then you can't walk up the stairs. At that time, you sit down. At that time, you just turn around, sit down on the stairs, and you hoist yourself up. And you get up that way. You know, it'll feel like you have 2 left feet, and then you just trip and fall down. You're programmed not to be able to run away, and every which way you go, something's changing. That's Labyrinth programming. From my understanding, because I went through it, me and another girlfriend of mine, Annalise, she's ordained as well, brilliant woman. We talk about these things. So I was telling her what I was experiencing. We went into more depth. And then we began praying to Yeshua HaMashiach for the programming to stop, for the deprogramming to commence, and for that subpersonality and that broken piece of me, that altar, would become whole again. And everything's okay in the name of Yeshua. We asked him in for healing and curing, for more understanding and patience, to recognize this programming, and to my screen just flipped. But to deprogram, you need Yeshua HaMashiach, and you need to be very honest with yourself and have someone that you can be very honest with, that you know will not judge you or criticize you. Whether you quit smoking for 10 years, then all of a sudden now you're smoking for a week, and where did that come from? That doesn't, listen, only, it was, yeah. The revelation is this: Yahweh himself loved us. He came here to earth. We called him Yeshua HaMashiach. That's really a great, grand, almighty I am. That's him, really. I know we all call him his son, but really the I am came to earth, died for us. That's how much he loves us. And that's the whole big revelation. But where was I going with that? Drew a blank. And it was a good point. But it's only through Yeshua that you can become whole again. And you need to be have somebody that you can trust and be honest with. I definitely suggest, if you're an MKUltra survivor, you talk to a Freedom Deliverance Ministry as well. Annalise and I did a lot of praying, and within a day or two, the programming stopped. There are some days that I have where all of a sudden my eyes will start to flutter with the visual effects, and I'll think, aha, that's Labyrinth programming. Satan or his minion, or minion meaning like a person who is serving dark powers and principalities, ascended masters, people that cast spells against you and rituals, Satanists and Luciferians. They try to trigger that programming inside of MKUltras to basically disable them and screw with them. But I can recognize it and say, oh, wow. Or I'll have trouble one day walking up the stairs, which happened recently. I was so embarrassed. But I breathed and I managed to get up. I felt the ruckus inside of me, like I got 2 left feet. I'm going to fall over, and it's starting again. I'm like, breathe. And I was like, oh, wait, I don't have to be a million miles an hour. I can just slow down. I don't have to rush, because I'm always rushing, and jumping for other people. And then I neglect myself and then wonder why everything in my life falls apart. Yeah. So anyway, I'm babbling. But see, you have to understand too, with all of these MKUltra projects that we're discussing right now, or I am at least, and hopefully you guys are having fun in the chat. I'm not watching. I should be. These mind control programs rear their ugly heads. And if you're aware of them, you can get control of them. Self-awareness is great. And self-control is great. And slowing down and learning coping skills. MKUltra survivors are prone to falling into chemical addictions. And listen, when it comes to MKUltra victims, some of them could have 5 altars, some could have 230, some could have 169, some could have 50, who knows? But you have to understand, with each broken piece and each subpersonality, and Russ Dizdar discusses stuff like this, each altar subpersonality has its own characteristics, its own personality, its own look, its own way. They fracture your mind with torture to split you and separate your consciousness, but they split your mind. So when you leave your body because you can't take the trauma anymore, you guys have all passed out in a bad car accident, right? Well, not to the extent, okay, you guys, that's kind of like blacking out and passing out. But see, I would leave my body. So my body was still operating and functioning. But I was traumatized so bad that I was in an altered state of mind so I could bear the trauma. And while in that altered state of mind, programmers then came in and programmed different skill sets, techniques, different languages. They would come in and program you with certain things. Like, for instance, that poor little Pizzagate altar who's about 9 years old. Well, she only ever grew up to know how to drink. When she comes forward, now you have to deal with that. It's not a demon. It's a broken piece of you. You're stuck in that moment of being traumatized and tortured. These programmers come in, they bring you to the brink of death, or they do drown you all the way, but they bring you back to life and resuscitate you. They get you in that altered state. They program you with different colors, different numbers, sequences of numbers, words, letters, different sounds, different smells, different buzzers. Also, if someone's implanted, it's another discussion. But once you can recognize what's happened to you and come to terms with it and know that Yahweh is always faithful to forgive in Yeshua's name, and Yahweh is always there to comfort us, then you can pick up that broken piece of you and put it back together. And then you become whole again. And then you stop smoking cigarettes. That altar stops drinking. That altar is now healed. But then say you have 10 more altars that still have to go through this process because they've been traumatized and tortured. And then they realize what they've done or how they've been used. And that's so traumatic. It's not just in remembering, but it's, you know, are you still that person? Like you feel God awful about yourself and you have this feeling of condemnation come over you. Some people start to begin to question their salvation. Other people start calling God a fraud because they've been so mind controlled. These people take these programmers in deep underground military bases, but they also paid house visits. And beware those Jehovah's Witnesses too. Anyway, these programmers use the Holy Bible, The Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, David Bowie, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal. They use these child fairy tales to warp them. They use the Holy Bible to warp it. For instance, Project IBIS, there's Daniel 12 in your Holy Bibles. You want to see some? I'll show you some. I hope this video doesn't take too long because I don't want to be on it. I have some things that I need to do. And if my phone rings, I'm going to have to shut it down and do a part 2 to the video. So where are we? Daniel 12. I'm going to get in trouble for this. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this. I can see the backlash now. All right, but for instance, you can take Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz. You could basically, the Holy Bible, and what you do for some of these MKUltra victims that turn away from Yahweh, it's because of these programs. And I hope that person doesn't go to hell. I hope Yahweh takes mercy and brings that person to heaven, but turns around and says to the programmer, because you made this person turn away from me, you're paying the price. And I don't even want that person to pay the price, but hey, you know, that's God's judgment. So Daniel 12, Project IBIS, right? At that time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise. Who's Michael Prince? Well, there is a Michael Prince, also known as James Casbolt. I'm known as Holy, not necessarily Holly, but Holy. That's them corrupting the Bible in the minds of these children. And we're deprogramming from that. And to deprogram, I self-destruct. I ruin and kill myself. I have no respect, I lack consideration, respect. I lash out, no self-control. It's tough. It's the toughest thing I've ever had to do in my life. So how this programming trickles down into our personal lives, that's what happens. So I really didn't want to bring up my personal life. I've heard of color programming, where people are programmed to colors. I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about the game us kids had to play in the Dom, I believe James Casbolt was there. We were young. Up in Nelson, Canada, I thought it was, where they made all of us kids pick a color tag. I almost picked purple or pink, but when I reached for it, I saw a smudge. I'm like, ugh. So I grabbed the yellow one, I believe. Well, then the 2 adults or 3 adults, there were adults, they called out the color and the kid got all happy. They picked up the kid and they threw him in the cage with the wolf, and it tore him apart. We got to watch it. Then I think they strapped us to a chair or something. I remember being tied down and held down and then just brought out. And I don't know what happened after that. I don't remember. As kids were separated. At first they had us all together, but then they'd separate us. And and Nelson, Canada was so cold too. I believe I remember Majestic 12 trying to come and rescue us from that. But so I don't know if there's another type of color programming out there. We've also heard of Project Monarch. Is not Project Monarch like cloning and stuff like that? I know James Casbolt speaks about it. If this is a bad video, somebody has to let me know. I'll have to rewatch it. I'll probably take it down because I didn't want to talk about my personal life. Okay. I was talking to another person and they brought up mirror programming. I'm not certain if there is a mirror program or not. I'm sure there is. You know, because like in my mind, I can see my alters. And someone replied, well, maybe that could be mirror programming because you can see multiples of yourself. But I don't think so. I think that's a torture technique, that mirror stuff. I think Mannequin is when they bring in like copies of you into the room and they all proclaim to be you, and you're standing there going, no, you're not. I'm me. You're a clone. And they just mind screw you. I don't know. I only know that James Casbolt speaks about it. Again, maybe go through, I think, Max Spear's videos. Project Delta. That's like I think I went through that. That's also Delta, where they teach you how to fly alien aircraft, 3 BTRs, stuff like that, reverse engineered alien aircraft and actual alien aircraft, and you go out fighting and killing people and things. Your Delta forces, you're sent out looking for the storm. The Rough Riders is my understanding about Delta. Sorry, forgive me. I'm bouncing around. I went to hear the Watchman conference, and I was sitting at a table for lunch, which reminds me I'm starving. I haven't eaten yet. And the people I was sitting with were discussing like gemstone or diamond programming or something like that. And the lady went on to say how it was like rubies, and rubies meant one thing, sapphires meant another, emeralds meant something else. But diamonds were like the most beautiful girls, and those were the ones always sought after by politicians when they wanted an escort, so to speak. So diamonds were like the most beautiful girl, but like each one had a rating or was a different body type or style, or would do certain different things, I guess. I don't know. But it would be like diamond, emerald, gems, like amethyst. The lawnmower's here. How to recognize that you've been used in mind control programming. I don't know. Listen to my experiences. Look up Taylor Bryce, Kathy O'Brien. You have Kieran Lee Perrin, David John Marrow. You have brilliant people out there. People, maybe Duncan O'Finioan and John Storm, their testimonies. Who else could you look up that's been exposed to underground military bases, mind control, and black operations? And they can speak. I know that Duncan O'Finioan speaks to these projects. I'm trying to learn and figure them out, to be honest. I'm falling down this rabbit hole, and I'm taking all you guys with me if you don't mind. But if you know anything about it, I'd like you guys to tell me, because I'm looking to trigger or awake the other MKUltra victims so they have a chance to deprogram and use their free will, which then I hope to lead them to Yeshua, and that's their free will. But these projects are dangerous, and they just completely steal lives. What other projects can I bring up? Come on. I feel like I'm going through my brain like, at the library, they used to have the index card file Dewey Decimal System, but you looked up books. I'm trying to think through my brain. What do I remember? Oh, Project Seagate. There's one. I think I mentioned that. But there's a Project Seagate. Aaron McCullum talks about Project Seagate. People laugh at me all the time about the dolphins on Mars. When I first got on the internet, I'll tell you a story. I met a bunch of people. Half of them were like trolls, adversaries, and haters, posing as my friends. They got close to me on purpose, posing as my friends. And the other half were just buddies. I had been doing so much research and studies. I would spend, 7 to 10 hours a day, Monday through Sunday, with my ministries and learning things and looking everything up I could online since December 2014, since I woke up to the fact that I'm an MKUltra survivor, Pizzagate, Pedogate survivor. I was a kid that was locked and lived in a cage in a deep underground military base, and there were other children with me. And a lot of them died. So, but there's a lot of people that have been programmed with these same techniques that I'm talking about by wealthy families, by covens, by satanic groups, by other followers and worshipers of Hitler and Joseph Mengele. Hitler was looking at the pyramids. He was always looking for ancient artifacts. On the pyramids are written MKUltra mind control techniques. The public is shown, 10% of the artifacts found? Maybe 20%, and the Smithsonian takes and hides everything else. But from my research and studies, I heard that MKUltra mind control techniques and child sacrifice and all of that is also inscribed and etched in ancient Egyptian pyramids. There's tons and tons and tons of pyramids in Egypt. So to recognize these different types of programming, for me, I had reoccurring dreams of kids in a cage being electrocuted, me being with them. I remember Joseph Mengele. And when I bumped into somebody that had similar, I thought it was a reoccurring dream. I thought it was a reoccurring nightmare. Everybody said, oh, you need a psychoanalyst, you need a psychiatrist, you need a counselor, you need medicine, you need psych meds. Those are all nightmares. That's all in your head. Oh, your dreams are coming true, Holly? Yeah, that's all in your head. Why don't you go pick out the winning lottery numbers? Because Yahweh doesn't work like that, duh. Duh. Yahweh doesn't work like that. Everybody wants the winning lottery numbers. No one's going to get it. So anyway, I'm just teasing. But what was I yammering on about? I thought it was reoccurring dreams. And it turns out it wasn't nightmares. It wasn't me being mentally sick. It was people being uneducated trying to diagnose me, and I stupidly listened as if they're authority. And they're not. They're my peer. They're not my authority. And I need to remember that. And when I forget that is when I start making all sorts of terrible mistakes. So anyway, it turned out that those were memories of James Casbolt and of other children, I believe I recall, that were exposed to military labs, human experimentation, programming, and all sorts of heinous things. Trauma-based torture, mind control techniques. Some people have been used in these projects and don't even know that they were used because they've been programmed not to remember. They've been hypnotized not to remember. The programmers could give them electric shock therapy, which would cause them not to remember. Also, in your alters, your built-in, your subpersonalities have walls built in so you don't remember. Or an alter makes sure that you don't remember and you think your life is hunky-dory, but it's really not. What else can I tell you? How you break the programming. Like I said, you grab somebody that you can truly trust. Like I talk to certain people that I truly trust. And I have been talking to, like this morning, I reached out to my family. I need to talk to and when I say family, I mean like my immediate loved ones. I need to talk to my immediate loved ones, and I need them now more than ever because of situations in my life. A lot of other people are not going to understand, but that's all right because I have to live with myself. So I'm grateful. But yeah, deprogramming from this stuff is really, really hard. You need a good support system, a great relationship, which I had. But see, this programming ruined me as a person. So I destroyed that relationship. And people want to say, oh, no, Holly. They basically, and no offense, I'll be honest, want to enable me to continue to do bad and say, oh, no, it's not your fault, Holly. Yeah, it is. You're not listening to me. Listen to me. I need help. And this is what I need help with. Help me get it. Oh no, Holly, you were never mean or lashing out like that with me. Okay, just because I wasn't like that with you doesn't mean I wasn't like that with someone else. And I'm coming to you to get help because I'm trying to reach out. I'm open with you. I'm trusting of you. You must have made a good impact in my life for me to look up to you, to even come to you and say, yes, I'm having these issues in my life. I need help. I'm spiraling out of control. No, Holly, you're fine. Or other people who tried to help, but I lashed out on them and destroyed them. So I'm not the only one. I am pretty much one of the only ones that is so personable and open about it. But that's because when I woke up, there was no one to go to. And when I wrote emails to people falling apart, they stayed away from me like the plague. And it's like, I'm coming to you for help. Because I think that much about you, that I would trust my care in your hands. And I didn't even know Jonathan Kahn, but Yeshua showed me the light that shines through him. And I thought, man, I need help. I don't know what kind, but maybe this man can help me get it. And I did what I needed to get it. And I didn't care if it took me 2 police departments to do it and to get me to the hospital, because this stuff has destroyed me and it's destroyed a lot of people's other lives. We're not even talking about Mars and dolphins anymore. We're talking about programmers and fracturing minds, and it's still going on. I want to grab the victims, lead them to Yeshua so they can become survivors, understand what was done to them in the programming so they can untangle it, so they can realize, okay, if I ever feel a feeling of condemnation over me, or that Yahweh is turning against me, or that I'm being punished by Yahweh, and here my sisters and brothers are telling me I'm sexually immoral, and for instance, for example, this is not necessarily going on right now. So they're telling me I'm sexually immoral, but over here, I'm married in the eyes of Yahweh, and I'm trying to get blessed by my ministry, but everybody's telling me I'm a piece of garbage, and it's not right, and why can't I do it their way? But see, I'm doing it Yahweh's way. You know, like, you guys just drive me nuts. You have to understand that if you ever have this feeling of condemnation coming over you, that's programming. You are trained to believe that God hates you. I'm speaking to the MKUltra survivors here and the people who have truly, truly gone through this. Even in their very homes, it's been performed on them. Post-traumatic stress disorder syndrome. So you get this feeling of condemnation come over you, right? Programming. Yahweh doesn't hate you. You might hate yourself, but Yahweh doesn't hate you. What happened is you had some pretty messed up programmers. If I could just take my own advice. For you MKUltra survivors and victims becoming survivors, and those not yet out of the life but wish to be, you have to realize that Yahweh is not going to condemn you. He is going to give you all the time in the world to piece back your mind and life and heart and being and soul. He will collect all those broken parts of your soul that are scattered all over the world, and connections you've had with people all over the world. He will bring back those broken parts and disconnected pieces and make you whole again. And he will walk and march with you every single day, every step of the way. And if you stumble and fall into drugs, and you realize, wow, some bad things are going on in my life, I fell back into a bad pattern, then you start to question, is it an altar? And you turn to Yahweh and you say, please help me get right. Know this, Yahweh is going to stick by your side. He's not going to abandon you. Now, your brothers and sisters, on the other hand, they're going to have a field day on your emotions and sway you in different ways. And really, you should just shut your phone down and talk to Abba about it and not talk to other people about it. Seriously. Because for me, I would turn around and try to find someone to console me, and I would just find persecution. And I would find brothers and sisters so understanding, or because I didn't do it their way, it means less somehow, or their salvation's better than mine. Why not bless my one flesh covenant? Why would you tear it down? And why did you? And why didn't you help me get help when I came to you seeking? And I said I was having trouble. Help me find help. I don't know where to go. I need more than just prayer. If anybody gets any type of counseling, I fully encourage it to be faith-based, non-denominational, faith-based counseling. Hopefully through a ministry or a pastor or someone that has worked with MKUltra survivors, DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, and SRA, which is satanically ritualized and abused. I want to know more. I want to know what happened. And that's why I'm asking you guys to be a help. I think I made a terrible video. I want to take it down. I'll tell you right now. Perth, I've been thinking about you. I wanted to connect with you, but I got busy this past week. My prayers to you and your brother. I've been thinking about you. Hey, Jackie Walker, Adeline. Ooh, I heard they're doing a special, Adeline, on Jehovah's Witnesses on television or something. But that's something to look into. That's mind control, too. Paul Marcianic, welcome. Eagle Wings, thank you for this morning. Miss Figgy, I love you. How are you doing? I'm praying for you. Jeff Dillman, my heart hurts. How are you? Relationship, not religion. Yes, you want a relationship with Yahweh, not religion. Hi, Jillian, Madeline, Kayla, Renee, Galen. Thank you, Perth. I can't wait to talk to you again. I'm back at Plan A somehow. I'll tell you all about it. I lingered at Plan Z for a while, but now I'm starting to Plan A all over it, and I hope to catch you soon, very soon. Linda, but I can't do it publicly, so I'll hit you up privately. Linda Mull, welcome. Yes. Susan Cronus, welcome. I'm going from the bottom up. Francis Smith, welcome. Hot Retarded Chicks, welcome. Luke Early, welcome. What are you missing? Hot Retarded Chicks. You're not missing anything. We're right here. Abigail Rose, welcome. Who's Majestic 12? Majestic 12. I got to look it up. It's 12 men. They're part of some secret order. They came to Nelson, Canada, and tried to save us children from the projects we were in. And there was a big gunfight. Some of the kids died. We ran for our dear lives that day, or that night. It's a group of 12 guys, but it's another secret society or secret order. I have researched them, and I used to be able to tell you, but now all of that eludes me. Monarch, I thought, was programming for Hollywood. Yeah, I don't know that much about Monarch. I'm not a Monarch. I didn't go to Monarch, but I heard that they are used for sexual reasons. Pamela Kilgore, welcome. Allison Hunham, welcome. Denise, just Denise, welcome. Critical Break. How are you? Welcome. Rem Dream, welcome. Let's see. Jennifer. Francis Smith. Who wants to have David John Merrow? He's great. Yes, he's a very good resource. I vouch that he's telling you the truth when he's talking about deep underground military bases and what he went through and what he suffered and how he's still suffering now because they stole his life from him as well. He's another kid from a cage. When he gives you his testimony, I just encourage you to stop and listen because he made it through some horrible things in those dumps. And he also always tried to protect the other kids that were with him, such as myself. So he's a credible source and resource, and I consider him a good friend. Dear friend. COD memes. What all was going on during MKUltra? I'm not quite sure. I, too, Adeline, love ufology and SSP. I look into that, too. Hey, Mike Smith, how are you? Politically incorrect. Politically incorrect, the Canadian viewpoint. Oh, I don't know about that, boy. But you know what? I accept that compliment from you so much. Thank you. Forgive me. My heart just hurts. Not so much a heartbreak, but my heart hurts. So emotionally, forgive me. I don't know where all the Roswell debris was taken to. Hey, Joe Info, how are you? It's great to see you. It's been so long. Yes, I've learned to replace alcohol with coffee. Did you hear that, guys? So I'm working on my own personal issues over here, if you don't mind. And I think maybe a couple of my younger alters are dealing with their issues, and I'm coming together. So one thing at a time. But I'm an avid coffee drinker now. So I am definitely accepting prayers, and I will definitely be sending out prayers to other people that are trying to improve themselves, walk a better walk, and definitely the ones that are kicking any type of chemical habit. I had it. I was never a drinker. I never liked it. But I was around people that were drinking. I ended up falling into it. And then with the MKUltra and the altars and all of that I was dealing with, I ran and hid in a bottle. And so I have recently learned that coffee is really great in the morning. And it's really good at night, too, if you should have any cravings for pints. Heavenly Abba, I come before you and I beseech you. I stand in the gap for all the victims, and I pray that you comfort them and hold them in your hand. I pray that whatever satanic rituals and sacrifices that they've been exposed to, if they were raped, whatever abuse that they may have experienced in their lives resulting in post-traumatic stress disorder. I pray for kids in a cage. I pray for people living off the street. I pray for homeless people. But I stand in the gap, Heavenly Abba, and I pray for these MKUltra mind control victims to become survivors through the blood of the Lamb, Yeshua HaMashiach. I pray that you comfort them and strengthen them each day so that they are strong and they feel your authority in them so that they're able to drink coffee and not beer. Use a Nicoderm patch instead of a cigarette to start to try to quit. And I pray that you carry them through their journey. I pray that you take away their grieving and suffering. I pray that you take away their DTs. If they're trying to sober up from heroin or cocaine or come off of prescription medications, I pray that you take away the detox and the symptoms that they may suffer, especially with those psych meds, because when you finally realize you don't need Zoloft and you come off of it, you feel like you're going to mentally melt. I pray extra prayers for them too, Heavenly Abba, that they stay calm and they stay reassured that you won't let anything happen to them as they come off of these things. I pray that any altars that anyone may have that has addictions, I pray that their broken pieces find the strength of you in them as well so that they know that they're able to quit. I pray that these people that have long journeys of deprogramming realize and understand that you will not leave them in this process and they don't expect you, and that you don't expect them to have this down pat in one day. If it takes 10 years or 15 or 1 year or what have you, that these MKUltra victims know that you will never leave them and you will always help them with that process, and you are faithful to forgive and you're faithful to pick them up, and you know what it takes for them to become whole again because you saw what those predators did to them to split their mind and fracture them and corrupt them in the first place. I pray for their personal lives to be strengthened. I pray for their relationships to be strengthened. I pray for families to reunite, forgive, forget, get beyond, and remember it's the last days and end times. This is it, guys. I pray that anybody that's researching and studying these types of things, I pray that they never shed any bad light on any of these survivors. I pray that they do us justice to the extent that it will stop these programs so children stop suffering at the behest of them. I pray that you bless everybody greatly, Heavenly Abba, and I really thank you for taking the time to help me through this video. I'm really sorry I was personal in it, but it's hard not to be because it's a process. Please help us to find more material so we know what happened and we can have a chance to deprogram and put our minds back together. May we be renewed through the blood sacrifice of Yeshua HaMashiach. May we be redeemed in him. May you live in us. May you transform our DNA. May you transform our minds. May we be a new creation unto you, Heavenly Abba. Praise be to you. Praise be to Yahweh for Yeshua HaMashiach. In Yeshua HaMashiach's name, Selah. All right, who else is in my chat? And then I'm going to get going. Southern Sister, welcome. How are you? Jesper P. Rodriguez, it's great to see you. Eliza Castanon. Galen. All right, who else am I missing? Miss Figgy. Hey, Method Marine. The tree needs to grow. Yeah, Method Marine. I need a lot of time. And, I felt flat on my face. I lost a lot of friends because I fell flat on my face. But now that I'm going to pick myself up and make right, I'm going to lose a lot more friends. I can see it coming now. But I can't give up hope in Yahweh faithfully forgiving me and faithfully staying with me through this process. You know, like if all the MKUltra victims woke up all at once, could you imagine the mass pandemonium that would take place with people having nervous breakdowns? Oh my Lord. You'd have a major catastrophe on your hands. The Modest Hobbit. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, Opus Focus, how are you? Auditing cured you of alcoholism and smoking addictions. Congratulations. I also pray and study Jewish wisdom. Yeah, I never drank. I never drank. Just I didn't ever have an inkling. The past year and a half, though, forget it. And that stems my anger issues. But I have anger issues anyway. You can't help but get mad when you realize, A, what's been done to you, and B, what you've done. So you're mad at your programmers, and then you're mad at yourself. And it's like, if there's anybody out there like me, don't give up hope and don't let anyone discourage you, and just keep trucking forward. I was saying something about people I met on the internet at the beginning of the show. I can't remember. I don't know. I wish I could have bumped into somebody that was waking up from MKUltra and would just kind of sit there and try to talk about it. So, and I'll try to be well, now that I am a coffee drinker. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. What is it? It's almost 12 o'clock. I got to go eat. I'm hungry. Hobbit. I love you. I'm in prayer with all of you. I will do that, Kayla, Renee. Thank you. Sit and read one of my books. Maybe I could draw Heavenly Abba a picture with all my markers and crayons I got. Well, I love you guys. You guys have no idea how much I love you. I love you. I love you. But I want to encourage you guys. Don't let that world trip you up or get you down. And don't let that world make you, when they mock you and laugh at you for your testimony about Yahweh plucking you from the darkness and bringing you to Yeshua's light, and you talk about what you suffered in MKUltra projects, which you suffered in deep underground military bases, wealthy families, or government facilities, and whether you suffered on the secret space program, the SSP. When this world goes to laugh at you, just ignore them. You're the one that has those experiences, not them. They can't wrap their minds around it or comprehend, and they have no business to judge you for it. They should help and encourage you. So, and when you ask them for help, they should definitely stop and listen instead of making an excuse for you to continue on. So, all right, I'm going to go get food and a cup of coffee. Lots of love to you. I love you guys so much. This sheep sleep while being led to the slaughter. Yes, they do. Hey, Patchouli, am I okay? I'm okay right now, yes. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much, Allison. All right, guys, I love you. I love you. I love you. Thanks for bearing with me, hanging out with me. I was, you know what I was doing? I didn't even look at, I was watching a blank screen. Not a blank screen, but I was looking at my YouTube description, and I was trying to like stay focused with the programming and the different topics. Oh, there's something else I should bring up is Project Theta. Isn't Project Theta religious programming where, excuse me for the terminology, but where like a religious fanatic would come from, like a heavy Bible thumper type person? They're really religious organized religion. Isn't that Project Theta? Theta. All right. I love you guys. You have a blessed day. Thanks for joining me. I hope this video came out. I mean, it's my third time trying to redo it. But seriously, I don't know my way around the internet, and some people are whizzes at it. But if you guys have any links, any videos, any articles. Also, one last thought. If you know about any deep underground military bases in France, please, oh, please, oh, please drop a link. And if you know of anything about deep underground military bases in Africa, please, oh, please, oh, please drop a link. I know other people that are researching the material, and I'm kind of curious myself about the France one. Well, too, the Africa one. But seriously, like, if we could all come together, and if you guys come across something, can we please work together to try to educate other people that don't know? I know I talked about my personal experiences so much, but it affects every aspect of my life, from brushing my teeth to taking a shower to what foods I eat. And anyone else experiencing this, I want you to know you're not alone. And when you think you're being hit with those direct energy weapons, I'm electronically gang stalked. I can tell you that right now. I'm electronically gang stalked. So you guys are not alone. We're in it together. Together when we pray to shut down the 5G and it impacting us, to shut down the direct energy weapons and to pour the blood of the Lamb on that so it cannot harm our thinking and our body and our soul. And Yahweh, protect us from these things, even though they're happening right now and my ears are ringing. I pray to you, Heavenly Abba, don't let it trigger me, trigger any implant, or trigger any of the MKUltra programming. So if we all stay in prayer with each other, it'll work. But remember, if you think that you're exposed to one of these MKUltra projects and you have like visual effects, or you keep getting one weird certain smell in your nose, or you feel like the scenery kind of changes, like it might get brighter all of a sudden for no reason, and it's in your visual effects, sometimes you forget something that you used to know secondhand. You need to find a freedom deliverance ministry. You need to have a support system, people that you can be brutally honest with, because you have to be brutally honest with yourself. Give yourself that much. So and also when you're waking up, you got to make sure that you turn to Yeshua HaMashiach, because that's really the only way that you can cure and heal your mind. You know, praising another deity or going another way outside of Yeshua, whichever way that may be, that's not going to be the best way. It's not going to lead you to eternal life. It might calm you down for now, but in the end, I'm still going to have Yeshua. He lives in me and I live through him. So, all right, guys, I want to say that I love you. I love you. I love you a million. Thank you for joining me. Theta, theology, DS, that and sound. Paul, what do you know? Can you guys help me? Really? I sent out a couple personal emails recently, and I was like, oh, no, I didn't mean to bother this person. The last time I bothered this person, it was to tell them I'm so sorry. I corrected myself and I took down videos and pages and stuff. And I know the damage is already done, but I'm kind of coming back because what do you know? Can you like point me in the right direction? So, okay, guys, I love you so much. Yes, me too, Jackie. That ear thing. Or like I'll get really good, like it feels like all of a sudden I'll have like bionic hearing, or like I'll have bionic eyesight, so to speak. My hearing, like I'll hear like the farthest thing away from the house. It's like, and then other times I'm like, what? Huh? or my eyesight's really well, and then all of a sudden it's going blurry. And then all of a sudden I think, oh, God took away the blessings he gave to me. I'm condemned. No, that's programming. That's an altar. That's also frequencies. Those frequencies trigger altars. Those frequencies carry with them demonic spirits and filthy spirits and the jinn and different things. And it's hitting your body. And that's another reason to always stay in spiritual warfare. So Derek Prince is great at spiritual warfare. There's Scott Hensler, Russ Dizdar. There's a lot of great ministries out there. So, all right, guys, I'll leave you with that. I'm going to go. I need food. I'm starving. I love you. Food and coffee. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'll see you guys later. Well, actually, let me correct myself. Okay. When I say I love you, you understand that I say it because you are my platonic friend, right? I consider you my brother, my sister, my peer, my fellow meek. It's all platonic. I'm not here for a date. I'm not here for a hookup. I'm not here for sex. I'm not here for gifts and money. I'm here to give my testimony and do the best that I can. Correct myself, and my life is in the shambles right now. Thanks to myself. I made my own bed. I can lay in it now. But I come here to give you my testimony. I come here because there's other people suffering, and I don't want them to get discouraged because they might bump into a religious fanatic who's like, oh my God, you don't do this, you don't do that. You're not fit enough for God. Don't listen to them. You know, people, there was one person that said to me, Holly, I had programming that was telling me God didn't want me. He's condemning me to hell. Well, that's programming. Or maybe that's voice to skull software, that somebody is messing with you with one of these weapons and you think God hates you. No, you test every spirit. You test every spirit. You look at a person and go, I wonder what spirit they're operating under. I test the spirit in that person. So I keep babbling on, and I really want to end the video for coffee and food. But yes, oh yes, oh yes. Prayers to everyone. I love you guys. But that's where I was going with it. You understand when I say I love you. We are brothers and sisters, cousins, loved ones, spiritual family, platonic, no love. I mean, I say I love you, but you all understand it's all platonic, right? Okay, good. I just need to make that very clear yet again. And everybody's going to take it personally and go, oh my God, Holly's talking about me. What I do. Just relax. Number one. Number two, you already knew that about me because we're friends. Number three, probably not. There may have been another situation that is encouraging me to remind people that I am here for Yahweh and to help other people go from victim to survivor. Not victim to villain like I've done, but victim to survivor. Never mind, I'm kidding. But listen, I love you all very much. So you all mean Applegate love or Appgape? Yes, not Eros. Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, I got a ring on my finger. So first and foremost, my covenant, because I have a covenant with Yahweh. And this ring represents that covenant I have with him. It represents everything that I have with Yahweh and through the blood of the Lamb with him. And I have a couple covenants with Yahweh too. I make them all the time. I rededicate myself constantly. But so thanks for your prayers, guys. And I'm praying back for you. But I must make myself available right now because I have a lot of errands to do and I want to catch the news. But on a personal level, I have a lot of stuff I need to take care of. So There's people on the internet that I want to get back to. Just, you're going to have to give me time. Like Chris R., I want to get back to her. Denise, I want to get back to. Emma, I want to get back to. And we're going on like 2 weeks now. And ladies, I love you. I love speaking with you, and I can't wait to talk to you. So much is happening right now, so I'm just trying to ingest it. I'm trying to stay focused on Yahweh, and I don't want anyone to take it personally. Just, I need some time, please. And I also want to make quality videos. And maybe not quality, maybe, well, yeah, quality. I want the content to be something that we can all work with and at least send up prayers for, because it starts with that. But I just really appreciate you guys. So at this time, I'm actually going to go. I love you platonically. Yeshua blessings. I love you in Jesus' name, okay? All right. And I'm not blowing you guys kisses anymore either. I'm done with that. I'm taking away blowing kisses. All right? I'll say I love you, my friends, but no more blowing you guys kisses. We're platonic. And that's it. But seriously, I mean it. So now it's time to act like an adult and really step up to the plate and really get to the core of things and discuss them. And I'm willing to discuss with people what it takes for me to do this so they don't give up hope in themselves and in Yahweh. So thanks for that time. I adore you guys, and I'll be praying for all of you morning, noon, night, and midnight. And please consider me one on your formal prayer list of who is praying for you. Yeshua's name. So long. See you later, loved ones. Loved ones of mine. No, I take that comment back too.